I found it.
Minutes of racing, and are we going to go 3 wide into the opening corner?
That was a very late dive. He managed to make it work. He gets the green. We're underway. 3 races left.
Makes it work, and the defending champion wins at Circuit Lebanon.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Ever witnessed someone so fast on track you doubt you could ever be on their level? The mission of Advanced Motorsports is to demonstrate the speed is achievable for everyone. With the expertise of some of the best sim drivers in North America, we are set to release free content on social media and comprehensive guides on our website. For those seeking the ultimate experience, our Advanced Motorsport Institute and personalized coaching sessions are the way to go. No matter your level of experience, we invite you to follow us on our social media to learn to be fast.
Everything is bigger in Texas, or at least that's what they say. It's the Precision Racing League Cup Series, Round 3 of 2024 Season 2. Texas Motor Speedway is the place in Fort Worth, Texas. My name is Dylan Coyle, joined alongside Robert Hill on RaceSpotTV. The PRL has seen its fair share of incidents in the past week. Maybe 2 races, especially at Martinsville. Texas, it might be a little bit of the reverse. We're expecting some longer green flag runs, but the last time we expected anything, The exact opposite is what happened, Robert.
That is exactly right, Dylan. Good evening to you. Good evening to everybody at home as well. You mentioned the chaos that we've had previously. Obviously, tonight we're going to be short a couple of drivers, with 3 of them serving penalties, including some of the front runners in Maverick Davis. He's going to be suspended for this week and return at Talladega. Dan Willis also serving the 1-week penalty, and Duncan Staroska going to miss the next 2. And we have a slew of drivers that are going to be starting at the tail of the field for this one as qualifying is about to get underway. We take a look at the Cup schedule here for the upcoming races, and we're going to go to another chaotic track next week, Dylan, with the Talladega Superspeedway.
Oh, yes, Talladega. It's what everybody circles on their calendar as the race that's either going to make or break your championship hopes, at least in this 9-race schedule. Thankfully, for some of these drivers, they do have an open drop week available. And let's talk about some of those drivers and where they sit in the current standings. Trent Dinkel has been perfect to start this year, or at least very close to it. Has a 24-point lead over James O'Brien, one of his teammates there, and Abner Acosta, that other teammate. It's funny saying Abner's the other teammate in this top 3 equation. Usually it's been a battle to the last race between Trent and Abner, with James O'Brien a little bit further back in tow, but good to see him in second place. Eric Haag and Maverick Davis round out the top 5. And, this is an interesting bit of point standings, and we'll get back to talking about those drivers' standings in a bit as we see the team, private label Team Hype, obviously number 1 overall. And, Robert, that's because they are the top 3. Their drivers are all the top 3 in the driver standings.
That's exactly it. Private label Team Hype has absolutely lived up to the hype this season, winning all 3 rounds so far and just being really exceptional from the start of the season. Top 3 in the points. It's going to be interesting to see how Abner Acosta gets along tonight. He's going to have to start at the tail of the field, but Dylan, we've seen him have issues early at the front of the field in the opening couple of rounds, so we'll see how this one goes tonight, where he's starting at the back and doesn't have to worry about the early trouble up front.
Absolutely, but we need to take this time to thank some of the partners that make it happen for us at RaceSpotTV and the Precision Racing League, and of course, Advanced Sim Racing is one of those. Owned and operated by passionate sim racers, Advanced Sim Racing designs and builds the sturdiest and most durable aluminum profile racing simulation cockpits available in the market today. All PRL members also get a 5% discount on ASR products using the Precision 5 coupon code. Racebox Sim Racing. Racebox offers mid and high-end button boxes for sim racing enthusiasts, from the casual gamer up to the most meticulous sim racing driver. Competitively priced and carefully handcrafted, our button boxes are an enjoyable addition to any sim racing setup. Visit raceboxsimracing.com and get a 5% discount using the Precision 5 coupon code. The Butt Kicker. Butt Kicker products add incredible immersion and realism to every game. Feel every nuance and truly put yourself in the driver's seats. Muradness. Muradness is a performance lifestyle brand motivated by motorsport and founded by professional race car driver Daniel Morad. For more information, visit muradness.com. Mr. Hedge, iRacing Photography. Capture your finest, proudest, or simply worst moments from your hobby in up to 8K resolution. A great addition to any sim room. And finally, Advanced Motorsports. Get ready to learn to be fast. Fast with Advanced Motorsports. Follow them on their socials to become a better driver. Qualifying is just about over at Texas Motor Speedway. About a minute and a half left to go, and I think it's a good time to talk about all the drivers that will not be allowed to qualify. If you remember, I think it's pretty hard to forget, Robert, the race at Martinsville was caution-filled and it was a wreck fest, and there were a lot of drivers that suffered penalties as a result. The drivers who are not allowed to qualify for this race at Texas: Abner Acosta, Craig Bray, Chris Hudson, John Jones, Nick Gowan, Park Hilliard, Ryan Scully, and Adam Brockway. There are multiple suspensions, 2 drivers suspended for 1 race. Maverick Davis, huge for his championship hopes there, and Dan Willis, as well as Dustin Starostka, who's suspended for 2 races. If Chad Kibbe, well, actually, it's interesting seeing Chad Kibbe as number 2 right there, because he is technically not allowed to qualify due to an outstanding penalty from a prior race.
Correct.
And that happened in round 8 of the previous season. So that's interesting. That penalty might have to be pushed back another week, or something would have to be given penalty-wise. But that's pretty much what we're kind of seeing right there with the top 15, and there are still plenty more drivers to go around. I believe we have a 24-car starting grid, and we'll go over them now. Trent Dinkel gets pole position by over a tenth. Chad Kibbe did qualify there, and we'll see if it is pushed back another week, that penalty. Eric Haag will start in 3rd. Good for him and his championship hopes. 4th in the standings at this current moment. Greg Carr and Lou Christian round out the top 5. Tommy Brandon rounds out row 3, while in 7th is Pat Harvey. David Stevison will round out row 4. Ryan Kerr, Waldo Walden, Jose Medina, and Mark Kalin in row 12, while Jake Mackey will be in 13th. And Stan Carnathan, Marshall Harris, your top 15. Those are the drivers that did set a lap time down. The rest of the field: Abner Acosta, Jeff Chandler, Nick Gowan, Chris Hudson, Ryan Scolny, Adam Brockway, Park Hilliard, John Jones, and Craig Bray in that order. 24 cars will take to this 1.5-mile racetrack located in Fort Worth, Texas, just a little bit outside of Dallas, the city center, around a half-hour drive or so. And it is going to be an interesting race. If anybody paid attention to the Real World Cup race that just happened, Robert, there were a lot of wrecks. And I don't know if we're going to see the exact same thing here today.
It definitely was a lot of wrecks in the Cup race today, and pretty much all weekend long, Dylan. We saw cars getting the dirty air forced underneath them and taking the air off of the cars ahead. So we'll see if the aerodynamic play comes into the picture tonight. Don't know that it exactly will. I don't think that 100% replicates over from the real world to the simulated track, but going to be very interesting anyways to see how this goes. And again, we're going to have some very fast guys coming from the rear of the field. How are they going to be able to work their way up through the traffic here tonight? Of course, we're going to have some slower guys, not necessarily slow, but just a little bit slower up in the middle portion of the field compared to where they usually start. Because, of course, like you said, we had a slew of about 7, 8, maybe even 9 guys that had to start at the rear of the field. So going to be very interesting to see how that one develops here tonight. But the pace car has left pit road. We're on the racetrack now. Going to do a warm-up lap or 2 here. And one thing that's going to be interesting to watch is how Eric Haag quickly works his way up and tries to take that top spot away from Trent Dinkel. He was running a lot higher than I saw anyone else run in practice, nearly like an inch off the wall here, Dylan. So going to be very interesting to see how that goes. But we're going to get set to go green here very shortly. And as you see the track conditions there, 104 degrees on the racetrack, 78 degrees is the ambient temperature. So rather warm on the racetrack.
Yes, and the pace car will head down into pit road in just a few moments here at Texas Motor Speedway. 2 asymmetrical sides, 20 degrees of banking in the first 2 corners, while 24 in turns 3 and 4. Makes for some unique racing, and we'll see them all pile into turn 1. Trent Dinkel will take the green, and it's in the air. 150 laps of racing at Texas Motor Speedway underway.
Yeah, Dinkel gets a great start there. Chad Kibbe sleeping a little bit on the initial start here. Eric Haag going to get himself up to the rear bumper of Trent Dinkel, but Dinkel already starting to put a little bit of a gap on the Eric Haag and Chad Kibbe machines. Luke Christian currently holding on to position number 4 as a couple drivers losing some spots towards the back. Jeff Chandler going to drop all the way to the apron, fall to the tail of the field. So a bit of shuffling as we see some 3 wide back here around Marshall Harris, David Stevison, and Abner Acosta. Here they come, trying to work their way forward.
No better time to make moves at a track that it's notoriously hard to make moves at than in the first couple corners. See one car way up the track right there. Might have been Greg Carr. That is not not exactly where you want to be running, at least in turns 1 and 2. Widens out, I guess, the racing line in 3 and 4 just a little bit. But 1 and 2, they won't stick to the bottom the entire time. As you see, there's a touch in the grass right there in the back. Oh, that's dangerous through the dog leg. It's very narrow there.
Very narrow indeed, as we see these drivers duking and diving all over the racetrack, trying to get positions.
They're wrecking in the back, and yellow is out.
Adam Brockway going to be one of those involved in this one. I believe Jeff Chandler and Craig Bray might be involved as well, Dylan. So caution number 1 out here on lap number 3. Early start to the yellow flag conditions here in Texas.
Well, I did say we expected it to be a fairly caution-free race.
You did.
And what else I say? When we expect something.
Commentator's jinx coming in already. Here we go.
Yeah, I don't know if it reverses it that I said we expect one thing, got the other. I don't know. I don't know the rules of all that, but looked like it was a fairly minor incident without much damage, if any. We'll get a look at the replay here and watching. They're going 3 wide, sliding up just a tad. No, it was, wow, that looked like a needless incident. Was that John Jones who got into the back?
It was indeed. John Jones and Adam Brockway gonna come together there. Unfortunately, we did see John Jones collected in a couple of incidents last week in Martinsville. His night not necessarily starting the way he would have wanted to, but like you mentioned, very minor incident there. I think the contact kind of helped from the spin continuing into inside wall contact. So everyone able to continue on here. We'll see what they can do on the upcoming restart, but we do have a couple cars coming down pit road. Nick Gowan, Jeff Chandler, and Adam Brockway going to be the first 3 takers to pit road.
And that's a little interesting for cars not involved in that incident to come down into pit road. And get a highlight on Chad Kibbe in the 23. That penalty will be pushed back to another race, and I feel like it's been pushed back a lot for Kibbe, if almost like he's just trying to
race 8 of last year.
Exactly. And there was 9 races, round 9, round 1, round 2, round 3. So that's 4 races ignoring the penalty right there, and that's not going to bode well, I think, in the eyes of the officials.
Unfortunately not. Just an update, it does look like Gowan, Chandler, and potentially Brockway as well. No, Brockway likely does take 4 tires there. Did a full stop, probably getting some damage fixed as well, Dylan. But for Gowan and Chandler, it's going to be fuel only. Just try to extend their window a little bit, which strategy does come into play here, and we'll see how it goes as the race goes on with that little bit of extra fuel in the car.
Strategy will definitely come into play. There were a lot of cautions in the Cup race earlier today, but with those cautions, drivers could go over 60 laps easily. That's probably around the mark that these drivers can go, give or take a wiggle room of maybe 5 laps more than that. 1.5 mile track at 60 laps, you're going 90 miles, and that's on the smaller end of what these cars can do. It's a weird 1.5 miles here. It's unlike most SMI just a number of years ago decided they wanted to make 1 and 2 a little bit wider to add some more racing grooves. Hasn't necessarily worked out the way they wanted it to, and there are rumors that it could be changed. I don't know if they're substantiated whatsoever, but the scoring pylon from Turn 1 has been removed in real-world Texas Motor Speedway, and usually when the scoring pylon or anything is removed that big from Turn 1, could there be a reprofiling? NASCAR doesn't return to Texas in September this time around, so it'll be a long time without NASCAR racing at Texas Motor Speedway before we get there again.
It'll definitely be interesting to see what happens with the racetrack. I know there's a lot of people that aren't overly happy with the current program we have there at Texas. We'll see as the months go on this summer if anything does change ahead of the next visit to the circuit, but still a couple of months to go until that. We'll keep our eyes open, and Pace Car is going to head downhill, and let's get back racing.
Back underway, Trent Dinkel on the inside of Eric Hag. He shoots ahead for green flag conditions, and it was a good jump for Dinkel. Kibbe tries to follow him underneath, and already 5+ car lengths for Dinkel in the lead of this race. And shooting way up the track is Eric Hag. He did not get the start he wanted to on the outside. Kibbe takes away second, and you see all that speed that had to be scrubbed off by Luke Christian running the inside here. 3 and 4, more banking. There's a lot more speed that you're going to capture out of this corner than in corner number 2.
What I'm watching now is Tommy Brandon taking to the high side of Pat Harvey here, battling for position number 5. It's Harvey up top. Harvey on the bottom, Brandon up top. They're currently just behind Luke Christian, who we were riding on board with there. Christian currently scored in position number 4. He's got Brandon just behind him on the high side, Harvey on the inside, and Pat Harvey getting pushed there by Mark Kalin. We'll have a word with him a little bit later. He's made himself available to us here tonight for a little bit of insight from inside the car. Is Christian going to be under fire here from Tommy Brandon? As we take a look at another in-car view here. Some great shots here all night long.
And I think now would be the best time to talk to Mark Kalin when he's in the middle of a green flag dogfight on the restart.
Hey, Mark, how's it going being on the inside there?
Oh, goodness me. We're seeing a good battle, though, here, everybody. Trent Kibbe, by the way, has gained to within a 10th of Trent Dinkel, almost the same gap that they had in qualifying. But, I mean, we've seen this from Trent very often before, where he will just dial it back on the initial parts of a restart and then start moving. As right there was Mark Kalin moving up just a tad. He got loose after touching the apron.
Yeah, that was definitely a little bit sketchy right there as we continue to keep our eyes on those side-by-side battles. It is Christian side-by-side with Tommy Brandon. Brandon actually closing in now on Eric Hag. We're about to be too wide for position number 3, but Brandon going to get back into line here as just a little bit behind. Ryan Kerr trying to work his way forward. Pat Harvey holding steady there on the inside. Mark Kalin there as well. Chris Hudson put down the quickest time a couple of laps ago, so some speed out of the 43. He's currently back in position number 14, so watch for him as the day goes along. Of course, a little bit of speed early could lead to wearing out those tires a bit quicker than you want to, but as we ride on board here with Chad Kibbe, he is all over the rear end now of Trent Dinkel. We'll see if he takes the opportunity to maybe look and make a move on the high side, maybe dip down to the low side, but Dinkel, of course, like you said, Dylan, is known to be able to crank the dial back a little bit early on and not necessarily show everything he has here right from the go.
Well, you don't have to be the fastest when you're in first place. You just have to race the slowest to hold first place, right? At that point, it's absolutely okay, as Kalin almost dipped his left side tires into the grass in the dog leg at Texas Motor Speedway, and he's trying to take a spot from the inside line here around turn 1 and 2. Will wad up into the wall, and speaking about wadding up, you just saw Pat Harvey get into the wall is outside, and that's going to be okay for him, but it's going to lead to some speed and some aero damage. This track is a lot about aero grip, and you can aero block a lot as well.
That's exactly right. You can play a lot of different games with those drivers around you here as we do go too wide for third now. It's Eric Hag on the inside, Tommy Brandon up top. Fastest lap set last time by Adam Brockway in the 42 machine, currently back in position number 19. So slow and steady on his ascent up through the field, but of course he was involved in the early caution. Now starting to work his way forward as Hag now under pressure from Ryan Kerr. It's Kerr up to position number 4 on the high side. He's looking for more as he's going to take a deep dive up there on the high lane. Not going to be able to get there. Going to lose a little bit of positioning out there on the racetrack, nearly into the outside wall as he continues side by side with Eric Hag. I believe he might have got a little piece of it, but he's going to continue trying to charge forward. As you take a look there, Mark Kalin holding steady in position number 6, up 6 spots from the start of this one.
I like what Kerr is doing because the outside groove will get worked into just a little bit as this race goes on. I mean, he's really arcing into the corner from high up, and you see right in behind Eric Hag trying to do the same thing with a bit of a higher line right there. Kerr had to really drive the car on the corner exit. He gets the spot, and now we've got some three-wide battling we're hearing on the backstretch. So lots of things going on in this race already, and you see that again. 25 trying to make the high line work. Of course, we saw Greg Carr get really wide out into turn 1, turn 2 early in this race, and right now he's hemorrhaging some positions.
Yeah, absolutely. Currently scored there in 25th, down 15 spots from the start of this one. Park Hilliard right there with him as well. Hilliard trying to charge his way forward. He was in the middle 3 wide not too long ago, trying to just find himself a steady and solid position out there on the racetrack. Just a quick update from some drivers in the midfield. Abner Acosta has not been able to gain too many spots here so far. Currently scored in position number 14, up 2 spots from the starting grid. Ryan Skalny up 7 on the day to position number 13. And now, as we see a little bit further up, Pat Harvey looks to be under fire here. He's got 2 wide behind him. Stan Carnathan and Chris Hudson going to go side by side for position number 10. Luke Christian up there in the picture as well.
Look at the positional gains since the start of this race. Kerr using those early race Goodyear tires to all it's worth, as well as Mark Kalin. He's done a really good job. Chris Hudson up 9 positions. Notably, though, Abner Acosta only up 2 since the start of this race, and you almost have to wonder, is he just trying to sit back, lay back, and make sure those tires work the entire rest of the way, or is it something else? We'll have to keep watching as this race goes on. But Tommy Brandon doing a really solid job in 3rd, just in front of Ryan Kerr, who got a little bit squirrely, opens the door down to the bottom on corner exit to Eric Hagg.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting here to see how this one develops as we watch the battle between Ryan Kerr and Eric Hagg here. Hagg on the inside, Kerr up top, as we do see Waldo Walden not too far behind them either. Currently there in position number 6, started 10th here tonight, and he is just on the outside of this current battle. Might be taking a look 3 wide middle here momentarily as we do ride on board. Don't ask the question no more. We found Waldo. He's right there, and he's looking to get up in that battle as Hagg and Kerr continue side by side.
Not too hard to find him with that run that he's absolutely putting on display. Hagg got really loose, trying to apply some throttle on the exit of 4, and that almost ended up in a really bad incident for Waldo Walden right there. It's really hard when you're running side by side here at Texas, but if you're in behind 2 drivers, as again, some looseness on our application, this time for Waldo Walden out of 2, if you're behind 2 cars, all the air disrupts the natural flow of what your car comes to expect, right? Dirty air is not a good thing because your car is set up aerodynamically to accept the air with no obstructions and push your car as far down to the track as it possibly can. Obviously, on a straight line, you don't want any air. You don't want any air resistance, but when you're turning, that's when dirty air becomes a massive thing to deal with. You have 2 cars in front of you. It just adds to the amount of violence, really, in the air.
That's exactly it. And one thing I'm kind of astonished by right now is the line of cars we have together. Ryan Kerr leading this train from 4th on back. I believe it goes all the way through to Abner Acosta and Jose Medina. So from 4th back to 13th all together here, as we're going to look 3 wide at the tail of it. It is Medina going to the high side. Skalny in the middle. He's going to quickly close the door on Abner Acosta, as Acosta looking to try to work his way up towards the top 10. Not going to be able to get there that time. As look at the shot right here, Dylan. You see so many race cars together. So easy for something to go wrong, as well as right up at the front of it. It is Eric Hagg and Ryan Kerr back under battle here. Is Hagg going to take the spot ahead of Ryan Kerr as we go back 3 wide, maybe even 4, as that's Mark Kalin in the middle.
Oh man, that's an uncomfortable place for our in-race reporter to be. Eric Hagg gets that position solidified for now, but Brandon is sliding up, or excuse me, that's Kerr that was sliding up behind him. Luke Christian trying to make up some positions right there. We go back to Tommy Brandon and Chad Kibbe. Kibbe is holding strong and kind of pushing Brandon's line up a little bit, but I think Brandon's going to have a run down here on the backstretch.
this could go down as being a really good move by Chad Kibbe, pushing back that not qualifying effort to Talladega, a racetrack where really anybody has an opportunity to get up there and compete. Kibbe's held himself really solid up here in position number 2 ahead of Tommy Brandon. Now Brandon going to take a look to the outside of Chad Kibbe. Kibbe there on the inside now, and one driver I really have to point out that's been moving forward is Jose Medina. Was towards the tail of this battle that we have in the field, was about position number 13, Dylan. Now finds himself up in the 9th spot, so up 4 positions so far from that battle just moments ago, and 2 positions on the day. So not a ton of gain, but a ton of gain in a very short period here at the Texas Motor Speedway. As you see more battles there around Pat Harvey. It's Harvey on the inside, Ryan Kerr on the high side. Just behind them, Waldo Walden, Jose Medina, Chris Hudson there in the 10th spot as well. He's the only one with a little bit of comfort right now, as Ryan Skolny under pressure from Abner Acosta just outside the top 10, as we take a look at Pat Harvey, who just got the spot over Ryan Kerr to move up to position number 6.
Really good racing here, and you know, a lot of people like to make jokes, say things about Texas Motor Speedway at the track's expense, and while some of it has definitely been warranted, this has been a very solid race so far.
Absolutely.
We'll have to see as these green flag runs do continue. Hopefully it does. This one has been just around 25 laps in length, 150 laps here. That means, if I'm doing my math correctly, 225 miles of Texas Motor Speedway racing action as side by side these two go, racing for a position
Kibbe
in
through
the top
the grass
10.
here, Dylan. Wow. Big landscaping moment there for Chad Kibbe from position number 2 all the way back to 9th now and continuing to fall.
Well, we were just having a small chat in the, oh, what is Kibbe doing? He's right up against the wall right there. We were having a small chat about, you know, maybe decentivizing the ability to
He has required
push
damage
back.
actually.
Wow, that's a hard hit. That is a hard hit into the outside wall on the exit of 4.
Chad Kibbe.
Absolutely, and well, we were talking about maybe decentivizing. What could be changed to decentivize the ability to push back penalties right there and then? Might be a bit of cosmic justice in the officiating world, but nonetheless, that's a heartbreaker for Kibbe, who had such a good day going on early in this one.
It definitely is unfortunate there for Chad Kibbe, as he's going to come down pit road, is now at the attention of his pit crew. Looks like it's going to be an extended stay, so potentially a broken suspension, broken toe on board that machine, as he'll be down there for quite some time. These battles just absolutely continuing all throughout the top 10. The one I'm watching now is Ryan Skolny and Chris Hudson, as Hudson going to lose the spot to Skolny. Just a couple of spots ahead, though. It does look like Jose Medina going to take a look to the outside of Ryan Kerr. That's your side-by-side battle for position number 6. So Medina continuing to work his way forward, and welcome to the top 10, Abner Acosta. He's worked his way up here slowly but surely, as he's very tight against Chris Hudson right there.
Yeah, I think it was more Chris Hudson got very tight and drifted up from the low groove there. Abner was lucky that Hudson took his foot off the throttle, or, well, we couldn't get the onboard sound right there, but he might have put his foot back in the throttle to try and spin the wheels, add some slip. Nonetheless, lap 34 of 150, Abner running in 9th now, making the move underneath Ryan Skolny. Next driver up is Ryan Kerr, and these drivers, this group is big for Abner to get by as quickly as possible, because there is a lot more dirty air when you're racing around a group, and once he does kind of get free of this 2-wide, sometimes 3-wide racing, it's going to be great, and that's a daring maneuver. Kerr got very, very tight on corner exit, allowing for Abner Acosta to just scoot on underneath. I think that answers my question I had a little bit earlier, Robert. Was Abner saving? I think he was.
I think you're right as well. The way he's catching up to some of these other cars around him is absolutely phenomenal. Very quick pace out of the Abner Acosta number 5 machine. As we're looking a little bit further ahead, that is Lou Christian, Tommy Brandon, and Eric Haag together. That is second, third, and fourth. They're about a second or so, 1.8 seconds behind Trent Dinkel, who has just had absolutely outstanding pace here all season long so far. We're side by side for third. It's Brandon up top, Christian on the bottom, and you could see it in the mirror. A handful of cars back. Abner Acosta's bright yellow machine seems to be getting bigger and bigger as he charges his way forward. Next car in line for him will be Jose Medina, Waldo Walden, and Pat Harvey. And then he'll find himself inside that top 5 as we just got a report from the 62 of Mark Kalin letting us know that the right front tire appears to be suffering at this point. And that is pretty visible with some of these cars, the way that they've lost quite a bit of pace compared to what they had at the start of this one. 37 laps in, still a long way to go, but tire wear starting to come into play.
Well, we also have to remember at one point in this race, Mark Kalin was up 6 spots into 6th place. There's no question that he burnt off the rubber as quickly as possible to get there, and it's not paying off in the long run. Down to 14th place right now is our in-race reporter. Dinkel now stretches the lead to over 2 seconds. Just a couple laps ago, Eric Haag took the spot away for second over Tommy Brandon, and Brandon's now starting to suffer the same things we're talking about with Mark Kalin. We go back in the pack just a little bit, and we have some contact, a spin, a big wreck into turn 3. Yellow flag is out. Stevison turned, and that was unnecessary.
Wow, that was definitely unnecessarily there. Craig Bray, Davis Stevison coming together. We'll take a look at the replay shortly. Dylan, I would expect pit road to be absolutely packed. As soon as it does open up, everyone should come down. They have 5 sets of tires here today. Easy pit stop here, but that is not what the Maradness team was hoping for here, with 2 of their drivers coming together and bringing out caution number 2.
That's going to be a fun team meeting.
Yeah, can we sit in on that?
I bet you they're probably talking right now.
Oh, absolutely. They're not too pleased with each other. Hopefully an apology from one of them is coming across the table as well, just to make sure it doesn't happen again, because really they're still pretty close on the racetrack. So if there's any animosity, you never know when the bumper could come back into play. And apparently the bumpers are bigger in Texas too. So we'll see how that works out here as we're under caution. Let's take a look at the replay, see what happened.
Stevison got really high. This is the lap prior, so they're crossing the line. This lap going into turn 3 and 4, I believe, is where the incident happens. And you see they're both racing side by side. Still good, nothing going on out of the ordinary there between Bray and Stevison. But then we go into 3. I almost feel like 2 drivers who thought they were clear and kind of met in the middle right there.
That's exactly what it looked like to me as well. 2 drivers going for the exact same real estate on the racetrack, and just unfortunate that it happened to be 2 teammates getting together there. I don't think there will be any animosity as they'll look back at the replay, see that, well, we just kind of both messed up. But coming off of pit road, it is going to be Trent Dinkel ahead of Eric Haag, Lou Christian, Pat Harvey, and Tommy Brandon. Actually, Brandon going to work his way to position number 4. Harvey going to come off 5th, just ahead of Acosta, Medina, Kerr, Skalny, and Walden, the top 10 off of pit road here, Dylan.
This was the opportunity for drivers like Haag or Christian or Tommy Brandon to maybe jump a couple spots or get into first place, but Trent Dinkel, it's not just him that's fast. He had the fastest, or at least tied for the fastest time between all of the top 10 runners in his pit box, 14.3 seconds. Eric Haag was 14.8, Lou Christian 14.5, and when they're separated by maybe a tenth or 2 as they go into pit road, and that happens where you've got a half-second gap on the second, that's pretty incredible, and that's all kudos to the pit crew. I hope Trent Dinkel's thanking them.
Absolutely. And one benefit that Trent Dinkel has as well is he has the first pit box at the exit of pit road. So very easy for him to just hit the gas pedal and win the race off of pit road without too much effort ahead of those guys like Hag, Christian, and Brandon. But one thing to watch this time, I think, is we're going to start seeing Abner Acosta really come into play. He's going to be on the outside of row number 3 in that 6th spot. So getting very close to the front now, not going to have as much work to do working up through traffic, but the drivers such as Harvey, Brandon, Christian, Hag, and of course Dinkel have been exceptionally quick and not afraid to battle it out. So Acosta going to have a little bit of work to do, but a lot less than he had just a couple of laps ago.
Mark Kalin hearing reports that he burned a good bit around that right front tire, where it almost got to half of a tread remaining, while the right rear, it wasn't suffering too much. So he wasn't really sliding it on acceleration too much, but that right front was definitely suffering. And if that's how much it suffered after a 30-ish, 35 lap green flag run, he's definitely going to have to work on that tire conservation as this race progresses if we get back to a long green flag run.
Yes, we do take a look there at Mark Kalin. Doesn't look too pleased with his tire wear. Sitting there he's got an extra tire behind him, Dylan. So if he does wear it out, maybe he can grab that one, throw it on the iRacing car. But we'll have to see what Mark Kalin does on this upcoming run. If we do get a full green flag run, going to be very, very interesting to see how that wear goes.
Yeah, Mark, we'll have to catch up with him the next caution. If we do get a next caution with him, see where he is pleased or displeased with his race, where he is in the race, and his face there, I would say he's more displeased with how it's going.
It definitely didn't look like he was overly excited about how the race has gone so far. He had himself a really solid opening run. Like you said, he was able to gain a handful of spots, work his way up into the middle portion of the top 10. Now finds himself back in 14th. So we'll see how this one progresses for Mark Kalin. We'll have a word with him, like you said, at the next caution and get a little bit of insight from behind the wheel of that number 62.
Well, we're going back to green flag racing on lap 44 of 150 here at Texas Motor Speedway. The one time we'll visit this PRL 2024 season. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Of course, Season 4 in the Oval Series constitutes playoffs as well as the Season 4 championship. You win, you pretty much get in easily, as we see a little bit of a blink from Eric Hag right there. Oh, that's dangerous. Right on the restart. Trent Dinkel in the lead of this race, but everyone behind had to scoot out of the way because they had no idea where Hag was.
That's really unfortunate there for Eric Hag as he drops down just ahead of Pat Harvey. Nearly contact between the 67 and the 89. Hopefully he can figure out that connection issue, get that sorted out. I believe Greg Carr had himself an issue with connection as well, has left the server, but I'm taking a look just behind Pat Harvey here. We see Tommy Brandon, who is under severe fire by Abner Acosta. Acosta just outside the top 5, looking for a way to get into that top 5. Now as Brandon drops to the inside of Hag, that could be the door opening here.
Pat Harvey got very loose just in front of these battlers in 3rd place. It's going to lead to 2x2 racing for 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th place. Acosta underneath Eric Hag on the exit of turn 4. Lots of clean space given. Hag on the outside. Acosta with the momentum. We'll see going into turn 1. A bit of wall contact right there for Hag. Acosta will try to apply that power. Momentum should be on the outside here, and it is.
Yeah, big momentum there for Eric Hag. Now going to be some help on the inside between Abner Acosta and Waldo Walden, but Hag going to clear down. Takes a stranglehold on position number 5. Out front is Trent Dinkel.
Oh, Hag into the wall.
Ahead of Luke Christian as Hag does get a piece of the outside wall. That's going to open the door here for Abner Acosta. once again to get there. And just a quick update, we have had a drop in the temperature down to 100 degrees Fahrenheit on the racetrack, so about a 5-degree difference from when we started this just 47 laps ago. So you're going to see an increase in speed and maybe an increase in intensity as well.
Yeah, usually when we talk about cloud coverage, just again into the wall, another car goes just in front of the 82 right there. Couldn't quite see who that was, but you know, we talk about cloud coverage, and whenever we're on pit road for qualifying, we always say we hope that the lap we go out on qualifying is during a cloudy lap. When the clouds go over, it will shield the sun from heating up the track, making the tires slip a little bit more. The 91 is really squirrely on the outside groove there in 3 and 4. Skolny has some help in pushing from Stan Carnathan, and or I should say Carnathan right there, and you see 3 wide action for 5th. This is wild.
It was indeed 3 wide, but Waldo Walden going to think better of it, drops back just a little bit. It's Hag on the inside, Tommy Brandon up top as they're closing in on Pat Harvey. Harvey's been able to work his way up to position number 3. Here comes Walden once again, taking a look to the inside of Tommy Brandon. Let's go side by side for position number 5. Is Waldo going to be able to get him? He's going to certainly try. We'll see if he gets him there. Nearly splits the middle. Took a look to the outside of Eric Hag. Wasn't able to get there. Is Walden going to clear up ahead of Tommy Brandon? Here comes Abner Acosta. Acosta to the inside of Tommy Brandon. Ryan Skolny going to try to join the fight as well. Is Skolny going to be under fire for Ryan Kerr as well? These drivers all through the middle portion and towards the tail of the top 10, looking for every single spot as more drivers giving a kiss to the outside wall. That outside wall definitely picking up a fair bit of paint. Here is Acosta up to position number 6.
Yeah, they're trying to, it's not the Darlington stripe, but they are Texas two-stepping it up into that outside wall as Abner Acosta is just on the crux of breaking into the top 5. The 94 or 84, I should say, of Waldo Walden is right in front of him. Walden holds that 5th spot. You see more sparks and smoke flying off cars in front of him. Abner Acosta trying to make up some ground on that inside positioning. He doesn't have the arc that everybody else is getting into the corner right now, but he does get momentarily in front of Waldo Walden. He'll scrub off some speed on corner exit, but he should have a much better chance of getting the move done here as Pat Harvey comes down in front of him.
Acosta not afraid to throw it in on the inside lane. Not the conventional entry that he would have hoped for, as he is side by side with Waldo Walden. Walden continues to run the high side. Again, another temperature drop down 2 degrees in just a couple of moments. 98 degrees is the track tip. Gotta think that the racetrack might be tightening up a little bit in certain areas, loosening in a couple of others. So that's why you're seeing a couple extra hits to the outside walls. The drivers have to adjust their driving line and the way that they're working their way around this racetrack as Acosta continues to battle it out with Waldo Walden. Pat Harvey looks like he's holding steady there in position number 4. Continues to be under fire from Walden up top. Acosta to the rear and now works his way to the inside. And Luke Christian as Eric Hag continuing to battle connection issues, and these drivers not necessarily losing too much ground to Trent Dinkle either. So gotta think he has that dial cranked back just a little bit right now, Dylan. Not necessarily showing everything he's got, not necessarily using up his tires, because he knows there's some guys behind him that if they get up there, he's going to need to step it up.
Can't lie, this is worst case scenario for this entire field when it comes to trying to win this race over Trent Dinkle. What I said earlier, you don't have to be the fastest car once you're in first place. You just have to be the slowest you possibly can and still hold first place. Dinkle is a master at saving his tires. He's already 2.5 tenths in front of the rest of the field. They're all trying to catch him, but he's doing enough. They're racing side by side, racing hard. He's doing enough to stay out in front, and once he decides he wants to press the loud pedal a little bit more, he definitely will. And I wonder when that time will come, as sliding right up in front of a few drivers means we're having 3 wide racing out of turn 2. Let's keep it together. Let's hold it here. This is dangerous.
Definitely dangerous as everybody battling for position on the racetrack right now. Pat Harvey, Ryan Skolny side by side for position number 5. Abner Acosta just stuck there in that 6th spot, not necessarily able to get up there. Is Eric Hag going to go way up the racetrack, letting everyone on by? I think his connection issues just getting a little bit too severe for him doing the right thing, moving out of the way, letting everyone go on by as he tries to sort that out. So move Luke Christian up to 2nd, side by side is for 3rd. It's Waldo Walden on the inside, Ryan Skalny up top. Skalny now falls back to the 4th spot. Pat Harvey holding on to the 5th spot as here comes Abner Acosta. Took a look to the inside, outside, now takes a look back to the inside. He's going to continue to be single file. Tommy Brandon, Chris Hudson, Ryan Kerr, and Adam Brockway rounding out the top 10. The first driver we see up out of the line a little bit is Jose Medina as he took a look to the high side. Now to the inside as he's going to battle side by side here with Adam Brockway as the sun starting to come back out. The warmth going to start picking back up here momentarily. Track temperature currently 97 degrees Fahrenheit out there at Texas.
Man, that's one of the worst feelings in the world when you're racing well, but your internet is not racing itself well. And hey, it's like a mechanical issue in a race car. In the real world, sometimes you just cannot control every external factor. And that's why Eric Hag currently scored in 17th, got out of the way from all of these runners in front. Hopefully his connection issues do subside as this race moves forward. That loud pedal for Dinkel, I think it was pushed. He's now half a second in front of Luke Christian and Waldo Walden. These two drivers fighting for 2nd place. Skalny, Acosta round out the top 5. Abner Acosta trying to go down the inside of Skalny, who pushed quite tight there on the exit of turn 2. And as an update, I don't see where we is James O'Brien.
He is not here. So the
That's
second
right.
place driver in points is not here tonight. That is absolutely massive. As of course Davis also not here, not by choice, but not here tonight. James O'Brien not here. So that's 2 drivers in the top 5
My
in
goodness.
the points. Out of this one, Eric Hag way back in the rear of the field, currently scored 17th with connection issues. Abner Acosta is in the top 5 now, though, in that 5th spot, looking to work his way up to 4th as he's side by side with Ryan Skalny. So move Abner Acosta up a spot, but Trent Dinkel exactly where we found him all season long here, Dylan. Currently leading the way and leading by a healthy margin of about a half a second over Luke Christian.
That's crazy to me, though, that we're talking about, you know, all these drivers either not making the race for one reason or another, whether they wanted to miss this one or they got DQ'd. James O'Brien actually, quick update, he'll be missing the next 2 races. He's in Japan, so he will not be here for Talladega action. That will certainly take him out of championship contention. Eric Hag absolutely struggling now with his internet issues in this one. Maverick Davis not into it. The only driver that has so far had an okay race is Abner Acosta. Obviously, 4th is better than okay. But, I mean, Trent Dinkel so far has led every single lap, has gotten the pole. He could sweep every point in this race. He says way up into the wall. That was some dirty blocking right there, and up into the wall himself is Skalny. Goodness me.
That was a rather large hit there for Ryan Skalny as he's going to fall all the way back to that 6th spot on the racetrack. We'll see if he's able to hold on to it as Chris Hudson takes a look to the inside of him. Skalny able to jet away just a little bit, get himself into a bit of a comfort zone. One thing you got to watch here is we're about to have a battle for 2nd. Abner Acosta all over the rear end of Luke Christian here. He's going to take a look to the inside. See if he can get a nose there. Not able to do it that time. He's got Waldo Walden all over the rear end of that machine as well. Another driver up there in the points that's having a solid day here today. Pat Harvey currently holding on to position number 5, was 6th in points entering tonight. Will automatically gain a couple of spots over James O'Brien and Maverick Davis. Also has a healthy gap over Eric Hag due to those connection issues. So a big day in store for Pat Harvey if it continues to trend the way that it has so far. But the trend that I'm seeing right now is Trent Dinkel going away once again, nearly a second ahead of Luke Christian. So he has absolutely hit that loud pedal as here comes Abner Acosta to the inside of Luke Christian. Battles on for 2nd.
Acosta will just send it into turn 2. A bit of battling on the outside, pitching down low is Luke Christian. a good defense right there. Abner Acosta will still have to make the move, has not completed it yet, and still over the line is second, Luke Christian. But I feel like it's only a matter of time for Abner Acosta to get second place. It might happen going out of corner number 2, and indeed it does. It is a private label team Hype 1-2, and as it stands, 1-2 in the championship is the same order as 1-2 in the race.
That's exactly correct. And just a little bit of housekeeping here. Chad Kibbe has worked his way back to pit lane, served that required damage meatball a little bit earlier on, now picked up another one, so he has a whole plate of pasta here tonight. Spaghetti and meatballs in store for Chad Kibbe here tonight as he's back on pit road with more required damage. But like you mentioned, Abner Acosta, Luke Christian, Waldo Walden, and Pat Harvey all chasing down Trent Dinkel. It was a quick visit to pit lane for Kibbe, just a 17-second stop. So one of those fluky required damage periods for him, but everything is A-okay. As watching another battle side by side a little bit further back, Chris Hudson just cleared Tommy Brandon. Is Brandon holding on to position number 7? Skalny, Kerr, and Brockway round out the top 10. So Adam Brockway, a great recovery from the early incident he had, was involved in the first caution of the day, as Marshall Harris going to work his way down pit road. Another pit stop here in store for him a lot earlier than expected. And one thing that could have been, oh, that's a big hit to the outside wall. Who just took that one? That might have been Tommy Brandon. And somebody's losing a handful of positions there. No, it's David Stevison. Stevison got into the outside wall, not Tommy Brandon. I do apologize for that, producer Mike.
We are almost at the halfway point of this race. Lap 70 of 150. Once we complete 75, that is indeed halfway. I know commentator math is not always the best thing, but
2 + 2 = 5.
Exactly. Oh, goodness me. Top 3, Dinkel, Acosta, Christian. Harvey and Walden round out the rest of the top 5. And we're going to get a period, I think, of smooth sailing for the most part, at least with the top 10. Yes, they are separated, most of them, by just a couple tenths, but single file racing means that tire wear is going to come into play, and they cast through those means in just a bit.
That's exactly right. And what I'm seeing now, Abner Acosta has been able to pull away just a little bit here from Luke Christian. Christian now under fire from Pat Harvey. It was Waldo Walden just behind him. A little bit of a gap there to Chris Hudson. Hudson having himself a really solid day, up 13 spots from the start. And just an update on that Chad Kibbe visit to pit lane. I believe his earlier contact with the outside walls leaving the tires a little bit skewed, and that's leading to some excess tire wear. So expect him to use up all the tires he does have available. Unfortunately, likely in short order here tonight, as Adam Brockway and Ryan Kerr going to battle side by side. Very tight there between the Moradness teammates. It's Brockway on the high side, Ryan Kerr on the inside. That is the battle for position number 9.
Brockway gives up that inside positioning for Kerr to just scoot on by, and look who's there as well. Carnathan trying to make a move on the 2 teammates that did have a bit of a moment earlier in this race, and wow, that's a very big dive into the corner. Carnathan took the air off the back of Adam Brockway. I wouldn't be too happy if I was Brockway. I was forced up. I'm thinking about Adam.
Yeah, that was definitely not something that Adam Brockway would have been too pleased with. Had he been able to stay with him just a little bit longer, you might have seen that bumper come into play just a little bit, as we see Ryan Kerr now take a look to the inside of Ryan Skalny. So a battle of the Ryans for position number 8. Skalny all the way up the racetrack. That's going to open the door here to Stan Carnathan, as Carnathan takes a look to the inside as well. He's going to get up to the rear bumper of Ryan Kerr, try to push him through just a little bit. Kerr slides up just a half of a groove, as, oh, that got really tight right there. Skalny down into Carnathan just about, as Carnathan about to get the bumper. Maybe a little bit of payback here from Adam Brockway for what was a very, very tight move not too long ago. And Eric Hogg going to come into the picture as well, as he currently finds himself in position number 11. So nice to see him getting himself back up into the fight after maybe sorting out those connection issues not too long ago.
This is some intense racing that has started to break out. Get a replay here of what happened. Is this slow motion for Marshall Harris? I hope it is.
I really hope that's slow motion.
Oh, this is going to hurt them more.
Oh.
Well, that was a nice save.
Yeah, that was definitely not what Marshall Harris was hoping for. He's currently on pit road sorting out any potential damage that he does have there, Dylan. But watching the battle a little bit further back again, Ryan Kerr's been able to jet away from these guys, but it's Stan Carnathan, Ryan Skolny, a blinking Eric Hogg, and Adam Brockway all together. Nick Gowan going to join the fight as well. So what was a 4-car battle now has about 6 or 7 in it, as Jose Medina going to close that gap as well. Park Hilliard not too far behind, as David Steffensen comes down pit road from the rear of the field, position number 21. Going to take to pit road. A little bit of contact here between Gowan and Brockway.
So we are around 35 laps into this run, a similar point that we were in till before the last caution, I should say, came out in the early goings, I believe, of lap 40. This green flag around 35 laps. This tire that they're all on is 38 laps in length. We're hearing that there's up to 35 laps remaining left of fuel. That means that they can go between 65 to 70 laps on a tank of fuel, meaning that might start to see some strategy calls start to happen in 10 or so laps time if they want to come in early. I don't know why they would. They might want to split it up in half between when we did go back to
that. Potentially. There was some big contact right there. I thought we were going to go under caution. Sorry, Dylan.
No, you're all good. That was definitely scary. It was
Skolny and Jose Medina coming together there, and it looks like Skolny going to come down pit road. No required damage, but definitely a big hit for him.
Well, this is unfortunate for Skolny, who is having an okay day in the top 10. That's race over. It looks like for him, he just exits the car.
Yeah, that was definitely unfortunate there. Some pretty big damage. He is going to exit the server as well. So Ryan Skolny, who entered tonight 10th in the points, has exited the race here rather early, just past halfway in this one. But like you were mentioning, coming up on the pit cycle, potentially going to come to play. As you see 3 wide here, I believe that was Brockway on the inside, Skolny in the middle, Medina up on the high side. It just really collapsed like an accordion effect here. Skolny up into Medina into the outside wall, and that is going to bring an end to his day here tonight. Likely some decent damage for Jose Medina as well, as he was squished up into the outside wall. Maybe a little bit of wheel damage, maybe steering a little. Whoa! Waldo Walden getting a little bit bent out of shape there as well.
Got a 1X from that one. Not worrying too much about the DPQs, the drive-through penalties, or stop and goes, or anything like that this week as compared to Martinsville.
Absolutely.
My goodness, that was a brutal race to.
It was a race.
It was 51% of the race was under green flag conditions, 49% under the caution period. It's a little bit different in this one, with so far only 2 cautions in it. Dinkel with a lead of almost 2.5 seconds over teammate Abner Acosta. Lou Christian still holding strong in 3rd. This battle right here, pretty solid one, and it's happening between Tommy Brandon and Chris Hudson. Hudson got a really good run there. I think it was also because Brandon got a bad exit out of turn 2. He's starting to push up a little bit tight.
Yeah, you're seeing a little bit of tightness coming into play here. We're past halfway in the run for most of these guys, so tire wear likely coming into play at this point. Of course, we saw with Mark Hillen last time when he came down pit road about 40 laps into it, which now we're beyond that. He did have about half of the tire life left on the right front, so I'd expect it to be maybe even a little bit worse now with some of the battles that we've seen amongst the field. Tommy Brandon just continues to see that push, but he has been able to pull away from Chris Hudson, who's been able to pull away as well from Stan Carnathan. Eric Hogg under pressure from Ryan Kerr. That's the battle for 9th out there on the racetrack, but everyone else pretty much has been able to separate a fair bit. Nick Gowan has a battle brewing with Adam Brockway just outside the top 10 as well, but other than that, everything looks to be calmed down a little bit. And like you said, we are going to get to the point where we see people coming down pit road a little bit early, knowing they can make it to the end. And speaking of pit road, I believe we might be seeing a visit here shortly by Mark Kalin.
Yeah, Kalin is definitely in the pits right now. You saw on the leaderboard on your left, it says pit. That means he is in pit road.
Oh, is that what that means?
That means exactly that. Believe it or not, I had to convince myself of it. And hopefully I've convinced you.
I don't know.
Obvious statement is obvious. Speaking about obvious things, we're on lap 88 of 150, and Trent Dinkel is in the lead by almost 3 seconds over Abner Acosta right now. And this race, we didn't know if Abner would be able to make up the spots he needed as early as his struggles looked in the beginning, starting from the second half of this field. Small field nonetheless, and it is Abner Acosta who can really race any car that he has put in. But it only gained 2 positions by the time we were pretty much at that second caution of the race. Might have gained a few more once we got there, and we were asking what was going on with Abner. Well, it looked like it was tire saving, and he got right back on the horse by the restart, and obviously now he's in second. It's just so difficult when you do have Trent Dinkel, who is the one you're chasing in the championship, who's been perfect this year so far, has been even more perfect in the race today. That's almost impossible to come back from, as we see Haig trying to get back into the top 8 right here. Actually, he's passing Stan Carnathan, and it's a good move for Eric Haig, who has been fast, but has struggled with internet problems in this one. The Keystone Sim Sport driver is moving back up on through the field.
The one thing that we can hope for Eric Haig is that does solidify is just ahead of him here. Chris Hudson has indicated that he's coming down pit road as you watch the pit stop happen from the live camera of Chris Hudson. Hudson going to make his stop, what could be the final stop of the day for that number 43 machine. But, you know, you mentioned Abner Acosta and the way that he's worked his way up through the field, currently holding on to position number 3. He's had the experience all season long of having to come from the tail of the field due to one reason or another. Of course, we saw the issues at Coda. We saw the issues at Martinsville as well, Dylan, where he's had to go to the tail of the field and work his way back up. And now for this one, didn't necessarily have the early issues, but started at the tail and was able to work his way through the traffic once again, as I do believe we're getting set for a pit stop here for Jake Mackey. Mackey going to work his way down pit road, so the pit cycle definitely underway here. Not many have pit from the top 10 so far. Chris Hudson, the only one, but we'll see who's the first one to bite here. Maybe somebody, there we go. We just got the report. Eric Haig going to be the next one to come down pit road, as well as the 31 machine going to work his way to pit road. That is Jeff Chandler. We see Ryan Kerr, Stan Carnathan down pit road as well. So a gaggle of cars all working their way down pit road. The cycle well underway.
We went back green flag racing on lap 43, so this means that they're going from a 50 or so lap stint to one that will last longer, meaning they'll have to save the tires just a little bit more each lap. Whether that means they'll continue moving or dropping through the field, whatever their trend may be, that'll be something to keep in mind, as Waldo Walden has gone down pit road as well. We're hearing that John Jones has a speeding penalty, 70 miles per hour on entering pit road, and there he is back down in the pits serving that penalty. That's a horrible feeling during a green flag run.
Absolutely, because you just saw your race go away from you. John T. Jones was not necessarily having the greatest of runs at the start of this one, was about 15th, as Waldo Walden has worked his way down pit road, Park Hilliard as well. But anytime you get a speeding penalty, you're just watching the rest of the field go on by. You're watching yourself lose a lap, maybe even 2, and going 15 miles per hour over the speed limit could potentially be about a 40-second hold in your box. So for John Jones, who's just now exiting pit road, he's lost a handful of spots. As Luke Christian, Pat Harvey, both going to come down pit road as well. So your third and fourth place drivers making their way to pit road. Jose Medina going to join them as well.
It's looking like Abner Acosta will be now 5 seconds behind Trent Dinkel.
Wow.
And it's crazy. Dinkel does not have to go into the pits. He's given himself so much time and space and the ability to wait till the very last moment to come into the pits, because any gains that drivers would have from short pitting here would be almost completely thrown out the window because of the advantage that Dinkel has. I mean, in that lap alone, we have just gotten 3/10 more for Dinkel over Acosta on the exit of turn 2. That's unbelievable.
That's absolutely insane considering how quick Abner Acosta is as well. It's not like he's a back marker in the field that's losing 3/10 a lap. He's a front runner. He's second place and very easily second place right now. And he's losing this kind of time. As Jeff Chandler going to come down pit road, Adam Brockway, Marshall Harris going to come down as well. So just 5 of the lead lap cars still remaining to make their pit stop. Trent Dinkel, Abner Acosta, Tommy Brandon, Nick Gowan, and Craig Bray. As here comes the race leader, Trent Dinkel, to pit road. That should hand over the race lead to potentially Tommy Brandon as Abner Acosta comes down as well.
Brandon, he's gonna be the first driver, I believe, in this race to lead a lap other.
Caution!
Oh, wow, this is unbelievable. Caution is out. Trent Dinkel and Abner Acosta, Craig Bray, all the drivers that just came down pit road. We'll have to see where this shuffles out for them, but anyone a lap down could be disaster.
I'm not sure what happened. I do see Jeff Chandler rapidly left the server after that particular entry to pit road, but we'll see what happened here. Craig Bray on pit road here. Dylan, this is disastrous for some of these guys. Only 3 currently on the lead lap. Tommy Brandon, Nick Gowan, and Trent Dinkel. If somebody wants to play the cards right, they could trap the entire field potentially a lap down here if Tommy Brandon or Nick Gowan opt to stay out maybe an extra couple of laps.
We're hearing that it had to do with a pit road either leaving or entering. So Craig Bray lost control entering pit road is what we're hearing. Disaster. And that brought out the caution. Now, some of these drivers who did short pit, they've got a choice to make. Do they want to go risk it? Do they want to take it back down pit road? I don't know if that's the right move. I don't think it's the right move. We are seeing drivers come down the pits right now, but for drivers like Trent Dinkel or Abner Acosta, who just came down pit road, I think I don't know if it's going to work out in their favor or not. It has to play out the shuffle of when they came out of the pits right there and when the field was frozen.
One driver that could benefit from this a little bit is Mark Kalin. Obviously, he's going to be second on this upcoming restart. Did pit on lap number 86, though. So it's been quite some time since he worked his way down pit road, about 15 laps. We see Craig Bray. He's running right between the racetrack and the apron there. That really unsettles the car. Goes for a spin at pit road entry, and that is what's going to trigger the caution here. Just unfortunate for these drivers here, Dylan, as this came right in the middle of the pit cycle. But now might be a good time to maybe see if we can have a word with Mark Kalin, our in-race reporter who's currently running there in position number 2.
I also agree with you. Let's get him dialed in right here. Mark Kalin, you got a copy?
I've got a copy. How's it going?
Oh, it's going well, buddy. You've had an up and down race, but right now you might be sitting pretty in P2. That caution fall at the right time?
It appears so. I'm going to pop it down pit lane here and get some fresh rubber because, well, apparently me and tires don't mix very well tonight.
You know, so that was actually something we were talking about here. Anyone who did come down the pits and short pitted, will they come back down for tires? You had 14 laps on that stint. You're going to get some fresh tires. Hope this race goes green to the end. Looks like Trent Dinkel as well coming down into pit road. Might be fuel, but you know, when this race does get back going underway, you gained a lot of spots in the first stint, but you did drop back as it continued in that first medium-sized green flag run. What's going to be important here? Saving the tires for this 45 or so lap finish?
If I can. I tried that on the second stint, and well, I caught up to the back of a couple of the packs there, and then my tires just fell off a cliff. So, I mean, it's on me, lack of practice, and then I'm not using a great setup, so that doesn't help either with the tire wear, not understanding the setup and whatnot. But yeah, I'm just gonna try and just play it by ear, lap by lap, see what happens.
How difficult has it been to just get used to the track's changing temperature with the clouds and then sun coming back out?
It hasn't been terrible, but it has been playing a little bit fit with the grippiness of the track. Obviously, it gets a little slicker when the sun's out, but you get a lot more grip when the clouds are covering it, so that can affect the tire wear just as much as anything else, and it's just always kind of a whatever it is. I don't know.
All right, Mark Kalin. Well, best of luck once we do get back going to Green Flag Racing here, and hey, hopefully we're talking to you at the end of this race.
Thanks, guys.
He goes back into our RaceSpot's favorite drivers channel in the Precision Racing League broadcast booth, and that's an actual channel name we've got.
It absolutely is. And just a quick update here, Trent Dinkel, when the caution came out, was in the pits, but he opted to bail out. So he just took 4 tires right here. It's going to be Tommy Brandon, Trent Dinkel, Nick Gowan, Mark Kalin, and Abner Acosta all inside the top 5 here. So for Kalin, he's on the exact same strategy now as Trent Dinkel, as Tommy Brandon, and Nick Gowan, the top 4. They have a couple laps fresher tires in comparison to Abner Acosta, and about 10 laps on Chris Hudson, who's going to start in row number 3. So going to be very interesting to see how this particular restart goes for these drivers. But Trent Dinkel, very fast. We'll see if he has that same pace, and he looks to be the only driver on the outside lane.
He certainly does, because pretty much everybody was waved around, so they go to the tail of the longest line.
Wow.
This is so strange. Anyway, green flag's back in the air. Trent Dinkel's the only one on the outside line. Tommy Brandon will try and cover him off, but Brandon does not have the best of starts. Going into turn 1, they're side by side, but Dinkel is going to have to try and cross it over here.
Tommy Brandon able to jet away with the race lead, but Trent Dinkel all over the rear end of that machine. He takes a look to the inside. Brandon coming down to block a little bit, not able to block it completely. As now Dinkel gets down to the inside lane between turns 3 and 4. Going to slide up. Going to be very tight coming off of turn number 4, but Trent Dinkel going to have the lead once again at the line by less than 1/10 of a second. Ahead of second place Tommy Brandon. Mark Kalin able to clear his way into position number 3. A couple lap cars into play as well. The 32 machine of Marshall Harris on the outside of Kalin as he works his way by down the back straightaway. But Dinkel, Brandon, Kalin, Gowan, and Acosta, the top 5 now, as here comes Tommy Brandon taking a look on the outside once again.
Yeah, Brandon got a really solid run through 3 and 4. Not side by side anymore though with Dinkel. Let's see if he can push him into the corner at least with the air. Looks like he's unable to do that, so Dinkel will start to run away with this lead. You only can assume so, but Brandon had the pretty solid exit and matched Trent right there into 3 and 4. Brandon's strong suit has been running that second groove, or at least putting the left sides at the very edge of that darker, grippier part of the track surface. Dinkel's, this is the first time he's really been under big threats in this race.
Yeah, Trent has not really had, he hasn't really had much fire to deal with so far here tonight. Now, about a tenth and a half between himself and Tommy Brandon. Brandon having himself a really solid run here. Currently up there in the second spot, up 4 positions on the day. Mark Kalin holding steady there in third. He is closing the gap just a little bit on those race leaders. We'll see if he's able to get there. Still about 0.6 of a second separating himself and Tommy Brandon, the second place car. But Brandon not losing much space here between himself and Trent Dinkle, and that is very important to keep an eye on here. You gotta wonder, is Dinkle pushing it to the limit at this point? I think he is. I think this is the worst that he's had to deal with so far. As you see a big gaggle of cars back there, that's all around Abner Acosta, Chris Hudson, Pat Harvey, Luke Christian, Stan Garnathan, and others from the middle portion of the top 10 on back. But we're going to have a lot of battles to watch here for the duration of this one. And if by chance we do get another caution, what's the strategy going to be amongst these drivers? Will somebody throw a wrench in the works, see if they could stay out, stay ahead of Trent Dinkle and make him do a little bit of extra work out here on the racetrack? But a long way to go. Short time to get there. 42 laps to go.
I'm going to disagree with you on that one. Trent Dinkle's last lap was 0.2 plus slower than his best overall lap. I don't think he's pushing it as hard as he possibly could. Just enough to stay in first, while Brandon will try and take as much speed as he can get through these opening corners. Abner Acosta, you saw he went high there on the exit of 2, running in fourth. A plethora of race cars right in behind, looking to jump at the bit, but I almost feel like he's doing what Trent's doing. He's just holding them long enough, but he does want to get after Mark Kalin.
It's pretty incredible what some of these guys can do, where they're just able to pick their position, hold steady, not really give up too much, not push too far, not wear out the tires, and just hold the position and control the race just a little bit here. It is an absolute hornet's nest around, basically from Luke Christian on back. It's Nick Gowan, Stan Carnathan, Chris Hudson, Eric Hogg there as well. Looks like he's solidified his connection just a little bit here. I don't want to jinx it. Hopefully for his sake, it is sorted out as he hits the outside wall. So that doesn't necessarily matter at this point. Pat Harvey there on the inside as well, rounding up the top 10. Waldo Walden up in the picture as well. 15 cars currently on the lead lap, and all of them battling for position. There's been nearly had contact between Pat Harvey and Chris Hudson for position number 9.
Oh, they almost came together. Thought they'd get a little bit closer there on corner exit heading into the dog leg, and Eric Hagg has definitely recovered, not to the absolute extent that he'd like to, but that caution definitely helped him out getting back going here. And if he can get 8th place, and it looks like he has, then he starts that run to Stan Carnathan, who's having a solid race of his own right now.
Yeah, Carnathan definitely having himself a solid night so far, up 7 spots from where he started on this one. Has been really steady inside the top 10, hasn't made any major moves so far. And as I say that, he takes an absolute dive to the inside of Nick Gowan. They're going to be side by side for position number 6 on the racetrack. It's Gowan up top, Carnathan on the inside. Eric Hogg going to take that draft from the Gowan machine. Take a look to the outside of Carnathan. So 3-car battle there for position number 6. They're trying to chase down Luke Christian, who started in 5th, currently runs in 5th, but has been very solidly on the podium pretty much all night long here so far. John Jones has made a visit to pit lane, has now exited and rejoined the field, as you see him on the bottom line there, working his way back out.
Pushing really tight there at the exit of 2. That could have been disastrous. If one car gets into the wall on the exit of any of these corners right now, that could lead to a big pile-up bouncing off the wall here at Texas Motor Speedway. But we're on lap 116 now of 150, 35 laps to go until the checkered flag, and you see that second, kind of a third groove is starting to form, and it's widened out just a tad in 1 and 2. It's still not perfect. The ideal line, it's really one preferred line into 1 and 2, but you can make moves by either sending it in there or trying to wrap it around on the outside.
There's absolutely lots of different options that these drivers do have available. I think we're going to see the high lane come into play at some point. We're not really seeing it too much of it so far. We saw them toy with it a little bit in practice, but doesn't seem like it's really been an option so far. I'm absolutely loving what Tommy Brandon's done so far. Stayed within about a 1/10.5 to 2/10 between himself and Trent Dinkle. Like you said, though, Dylan, Dinkle not necessarily having that dial cranked up to full as of yet, but we'll see how it develops as the race goes on. Nearly contact just a moment ago between Stan Carnathan and Nick Gowan. Gowan gonna jet away from him. Eric Haag on the inside of Stan Carnathan. A little bit of contact down the back straightaway between those two drivers, as now Gowan going to take a look there at the Luke Christian machine, and Mark Kalin now has company. Here comes Abner Acosta taking a look to the inside for third.
Oh yeah, he's got some company right now, and by the way, that gap between Dinkle and Brandon did extend out to 3.5 tenths, and it's now going back
Acosta
there.
getting bigger on the relative? Is that why he's stepping it up?
I don't know. I don't know if the difference between Acosta and Dinkle is as big as it is between Acosta and Brandon. I don't know if the gap between Dinkle and Acosta has gone up or changed that much since the start of this run. But Abner is now in the P3, will be chasing down Tommy Brandon. Currently about a 1.5 stands between Abner and Trent Dinkle right now. We'll see if it either widens or comes down as this race continues to go on. My money's on it widening out.
Yeah, I mean, Trent Dinkle has just been absolutely phenomenal so far. He has been all season. Already picked up a victory in the state of Texas so far at COTA to open up the season, and now looks to get another one. I believe he's looking for 3 in a row so far, so absolutely phenomenal by Trent Dinkle, and you can already see just by Mark Kalin, a little bit of a hornet's nest starting to swarm him as Luke Christian and Nick Gowan starting to catch up to the tail end of that 62. A great effort by Mark Kalin here tonight. Certainly not out of contention for a great top 5 finish. We'll see how this one does continue to develop. And we have about 30 laps to go and 14.5 minutes to get there.
Yeah, we'll get there, I think.
Oh yeah, 100% we're gonna get it. We got this. We got this tonight, folks.
No, don't say that yet, though. Hopefully.
Oh, no.
I mean, commentator's curse is, in much.
That's true. It's true. It is very true.
Oh, man. Well, we see these two running side by side right here. Luke Christian is trying to get the position on Nick Gowan right here, and they are neck and neck. It's allowing for Stan Carnathan to come just a little bit closer into this battle. Christian will throw it around the outside, get the position, and Nicholas Gowan is starting to lose some spots and lose some time here.
Yeah, it's unfortunate there for Gowan, starting to lose a little bit of ground as Carnathan catching up to him. Speaking of catching up, Christian all over the rear end now of Mark Kalin. Kalin going to open the door just a little bit on the inside. Christian going to knock the way through, work his way up to position number 4. Of course, Christian was on the podium for the longest time here tonight. Very strong effort by that number 21 machine, but Kalin going to get back to the rear end of him. Take a look to the inside. Here comes Mark Kalin. Here comes Nick Gowan as Luke Christian now going to start losing ground as they work their way through turns number 3 and 4 side by side. Christian up top, Kalin on the inside. That's your battle for position number 4 out there on the racetrack. Abner Acosta a good bit up the road. He's got Tommy Brandon within sight, but this battle does continue as we ride on board here with Nick Gowan. Taking a look
at this.
ahead as here they go. We're going to go 3 wide on the exit of 2.
Gowan had such a good run, let off the throttle, entering into turn 1, entering turn 3, though they are side by side, running way higher than you ever should at this 3 and 4 is Luke Christian. Oh my goodness, this is way too tight, coming right down to cover him off. That was Christian on Gowan. Kalin starting to lose time.
That was a phenomenal drive right there by Luke Christian. I absolutely thought we were going to see chaos. We were going to see carnage as they worked their way off of turn number 4 just a moment ago. Mark Kalin going to hold steady there in position number 5. Nick Gowan still has a foot in the door on the inside. We'll see if he's able to get there. Pat Harvey, Stan Carnathan also in the picture, not too far behind them. Eric Hogg and Waldo Walden trying to work their way up towards that top 5, but Luke Christian now starting to separate just a little bit as the battle has begun for position number 2. Abner Acosta right up to the rear end of the Tommy Brandon machine. That pass should come momentarily here as Acosta takes a look to the inside. Gowan taking a look to the inside of Mark Kalin as well. We're side by side for second off of turn number 4. It's going to go to Abner Acosta at the line this time. Acosta second. Tommy Brandon in third, and everybody trailing Trent Dinkle.
Yeah, Abner has made the move for second. By the way, that gap between Dinkle, we talked about it being a second and a half, and now it's 1.9 seconds between those two up top with 32 laps and change to go here as this battle for third, or I should say fourth, is going absolutely wild right now, and I think they're going to catch up to Tommy Brandon potentially by the time things are all said and done, depending on how hard Brandon was pushing it early on in the restart. Here is, look at this, Pat Harvey sends it down deep into the corner. He's going to have to try and find the grip to hold it there, but Nick Gowan will gas it up, stay on the outside of Harvey.
Gowan got a great exit there. Going to continue the fight side by side for position number 6 as they work their way through turns 3 and 4, catching up to Mark Kalin here in just a moment as Kalin catching up to Luke Christian. The side by side does continue. Gowan up top, Harvey on the inside. Harvey looking for a great point stay here today. Currently 6th in the points entering tonight. Gowan in position number 7. So this means a lot here as here comes Gowan to the inside of Pat Harvey. A little bit of a switch over here as now Harvey holds the spot. It's Gowan on the inside. We were just on board there momentarily with Stan Carnathan looking up ahead to this battle as it's getting tighter and tighter. Gowan going to have to back out of it. He's going to drop back to position number 7 as Harvey holds steady in that 6th spot.
Yeah, Gowan was in a losing battle right there. Everyone starting to get a little bit tighter, especially the ones in this battle as we've been seeing it over the course of the last 5 or so laps. They're using a lot of the rubber and way up into the wall. Right in front of Eric Hagg was Stan Carnathan. He's been hemorrhaging positions. Hagg's going to try and challenge him. We'll see if how much speed Carnathan has lost from that wall hit. Back to side-by-side racing. It's now Pat Harvey hoping he holds the spot over Mark Kalin. Gowan in behind again. Every time they go side-by-side, it just opens the door up for challengers from in behind. Harvey holds it for now, but we'll see if Kalin has the run. He does.
Down the back straightaway, Pat Harvey on the high side, Mark Kalin on the inside. This is your battle for position number 5. Nick Gowan just behind them, getting really tight there between 3 and 4. Harvey with the advantage. Kalin going to take the middle lane. Gowan going to catch up to the tail end of him. Took a look to the high side, now going to get just behind him. Wait for his opportunity to pass here as Gowan going to back up the corner a little bit extra. Maybe looking for a run here on Mark Kalin. Now takes a look to the outside of the 62 machine. Not able to get there now to the inside. Here comes Nick Gowan going to stay single file. This battle between the Kalin and Gowan machines absolutely about to heat up here as we are quickly approaching 15 laps to go. Getting down to the tail end of this one. Trent Dinkle now leads by about 2.5 seconds over Abner Acosta, who has about a second over Tommy Brandon, Luke Christian, Pat Harvey, the top 5, Mark Kalin, Nick Gowan, Eric Hogg, Stan Carnathan, and Ryan Kerr, the top 10.
I was going to say, Kalin should start running that higher groove right now because he's pushing really tight when he tries to take the inside. There was a move that was about to happen there. Let's go back to Hudson and Park Hilliard right now, fighting for 12th place. And Hudson is not having the day he wants to write home about. And Park has had some fast runs in it so far this season, but Texas is a different beast. It's unlike most mile-and-a-half tracks. And going back to Mark Kalin, and Kalin, you can see that gap is starting to build just ever so slightly between he and Pat Harvey, but Harvey is held up right now by Luke Christian. Aero blocking, and Kalen got really tight, tried to get on the throttle, and then almost lost it on the exit of 4. Kalen is struggling right now.
I think he had a little bit of a laugh right there with how his exit went, but just ahead of him here, Pat Harvey looking to make a move on Luke Christian. Christian currently holds on to position number 4. Harvey wants it here. 15 laps to go now. Dinkle continuing to lead ahead of Acosta and Brandon, but the battle we're watching is for fourth. Luke Christian in the 21, Pat Harvey in the 67, as Harvey getting a little bit of a run here off of turn number 4, heading by the start-finish line now. Let's see if Harvey's able to stick a nose in there. Not able to this time. Is just behind them, Mark Kale and Nick Gowing in a single file out. So those battles that we did have just moments ago seem to have calmed down just a little bit. The entire field appears now to be single file for just a moment, as we see Mark Kalen and Nick Gowan once again riding on board with Gowan, getting a nice run here onto the rear end of the Mark Kalen machine. We'll see if Gowan's able to get to the outside this time as we head to turn number 1. He's going to take a look to the inside, not able to get there, as they are going to stay single file here with less than 15 to go. Just 13 laps remaining here at Texas. Gowan now to the outside of Kalen off of turn number 2. We're going to go side by side for position number 6.
Yeah, Gowan just has to hold it clean on the outside for now, and I think he's going to get the position. He went a little bit higher than I expect him to go, but Kalen just has no real grip anywhere on this track. They still remain side by side for the time being, but finally Kalen slots in behind Nick Gowan, and now Gowan's going to try and chase down Pat Harvey and Luke Christian, who are still embroiled in this really solid battle, the 21 and 67 machine. We're hearing that Matt Harrison has a black flag somewhere on the track for an incident that he has provided to himself. That's
I believe it might have been speeding entering pit road there just momentarily ago, but for him, going to be on pit road, going to try to fix that one up. As Pat Harvey losing ground to Luke Christian, Nick Gowan, like you said, Dylan, trying to close that gap just a little bit. We're going to be 10 to go this time by, and it's Trent Dinkle by 3.5 seconds. Actually, even more than that now, ahead of Abner Acosta, Tommy Brandon, Luke Christian, and Pat Harvey, the top 5. And of course, like we said, Harvey has an incoming battle here with Nick Gowan, as Gowan trying to close the gap. You can see them both in the same camera shop that time by the 67 Harvey. The 88 of Gowan about to battle it out for P5.
What's really interesting here as well is that Tommy Brandon is losing time quickly to Luke Christian. Christian and Harvey were just battling, and Christian's turned it on late here as well, and is within just a few tenths of the 11 car for third. This is a little bit further back. Ryan Kerr in the top 10, trying to chase down the 82 of Stan Carnathan as they come around the dog leg. Carnathan trying to block the inside of the dog leg, but enters into turn 1 just a bit higher, slides way up the track into the marbles. He's going to have to take his foot off the throttle. That is a position lost for him.
As we do see the battle there between Pat Harvey and Nick Gowan about to kick off a little bit further up the racetrack, even closer. Tommy Brandon, Luke Christian, as Christian taking a look to the outside, and Tommy Brandon going to take a look to the inside. They're still single file right now, but Christian closing in ever so quickly. He takes a look to the inside, battles on for third. It's Christian on the inside, Tommy Brandon up top. They're going to be side by side for position number 3 as they head for turn 3. Brandon continues to cook the high side. Christian booking it on the inside as Luke Christian going to clear, work his way into position number 3. It's Christian to third, Brandon back to 4th.
Oh man, Brandon's going to be lucky to stay within the top 5 by the time this race is all said and done. Brandon had to take his foot off the throttle so much entering into turn 3 compared to Luke Christian right there. It was just way too much to deal with. Christian into third. His challenge is now going to be to see if he can hold a podium spot in the last 6 laps and change remaining in this race. But now Pat Harvey is chasing down Tommy Brandon, just a tenth in between them. Harvey goes down to the inside in the dog leg. Brandon and him are side by side. Again, letting his foot off the throttle early there. Pat Harvey will get the move done before we even got to turn 2.
Yeah, Harvey works his way up to position number 4. Tommy Brandon falls back to 5th, has a little bit of a gap ahead of Nick Gowan. We'll see if he's able to hold on to it here. We're going to be 5 to go this time by for Trent Dinkle. He just crossed the line that time to take that 5 to go mark. So the flag man with all 5 fingers in the air, Luke Christian and Abner Acosta trailing him by quite a margin right now to round out the podium. Pat Harvey, Tommy Brandon battling for 4th. I believe Harvey just going to start pulling away from him now as Tommy Brandon in that 5th spot. Nick Gowan closing in ever so slightly. I believe next time by will likely have a battle down the back straightaway for that 5th spot. Brandon wants to hold on to it as we watch Park Hilliard here. He's going to be side by side with Ryan Kerr. That's the battle for 9th on the racetrack. Kerr back to 10th. Hilliard up to 9th. Of course, Park Hilliard, one of the heroes of the Circuit of the Americas round number 1 earlier this season, looking to have a bit more success here in Texas tonight as he continues side by side with Ryan Kerr. He's going to clear him and work his way up to position number 9 as we're side by side for the 5th spot. It's Gowan on the inside. Tommy Brandon up top with just 4 laps to go.
Yeah, this battle on your screen is definitely good, and they're both sending it in every single lap to try and hold some positions within the top 10. Tommy Brandon, Nick Gowan trying to fight for 5th as well, as I think that battle will lead to a Gowan top 5 if Brandon keeps losing positions like he is. But Hilliard down the inside, tried to stick it underneath of Ryan Kerr in the 888 machine. Kerr has had a solid race for him. Right in behind is Stan Carnathan and Waldo Walden having their own battle. Walden opened up the 82 machine of Stan Carnathan there and was almost able to go underneath, but lost some speed himself. Hilliard still trying to fight as we get 2 laps to go here in this race. It's been all Trent Dinkle.
Tommy Brandon had a kiss with the outside walls. Here comes Nick Gowan down to the inside. White flag is displayed. 1 lap to go for Trent Dinkle here at Texas as the battle continues for 5th. Brandon up into the wall again. Gowan on his inside, side by side, heading into turn number 1 for the final time here. Dylan as Dinkle heads for turn number 3 and that checkered flag once again.
It's been all Trent Dinkle in this race, has dominated this one, bar none. No driver has started this season off as well as him. 3 for 3 for Trent Dinkle in Season 2 of 2024 PRL Cup Series action. The battle for the line, top 5 positioning. We'll see who gets it. Is it Gowan by 37 thousandths over Tommy Brandon? Unbelievable finish, and then even back here, it's between both Kerr and Hilliard, 17 1,000ths.
Some
90 it actually is.
Great battles down to the line there, Dylan. Of course, battling for positions right down to the final moment. Great drive tonight by Trent Dinkle. Abner Acosta and Luke Christian up there on the podium. Pat Harvey and Nick Gowan both able to work their way up just outside the podium, but into the top 5 in those closing laps as well. Phenomenal drives all around. Can't wait to hear from the podium finishers momentarily after what was an exceptional race here tonight.
Just an awesome, awesome race at Texas Motor Speedway. And let's bottle that statement up and hold it there. Trent Dinkle wins by over 7 seconds over teammate Abner Acosta. Luke Christian rounds out the podium with Pat Harvey and Nick Gowan finishing the top 5. Tommy Brandon, Eric Haig, Mark Kalin, Ryan Kerr, and Park Hilliard, your top 10 finishers with Waldo Walden, Stan Carnathan, Jose Medina, Chris Hudson, Jake Mackey, Adam Brockway, Craig Bray, John Jones, and David Stevison in your top 20. As Chad Kibbe as well in 20th position, actually. 21st is Harris, Chandler, Skalny, and Greg Carr rounds it out, 107 laps down. Trent Dinkle is off to the best possible start he could have. Led the most laps, got the pole, won the race. This guy is almost unbeatable in this one. But let's take it to the interviews. And while we wait for Trent, Robert, you're with Abner Acosta.
Yeah, Abner, great run here tonight. Once again, you've had a roller coaster start to the season, having to go from the front to the rear, back up to the front in every single round we've had so far tonight. But walk us through this race, and what more did you need to get up there and take that victory away from Trent Dinkle?
Yeah, I don't know that I could have. I didn't have any pain, and I think I could keep up through the first part of the set, but then I would just burn my tires, even when I was trying to go really easy on them. So, not sure. Definitely, if I would have started besides Trent, I don't think I had anything. He just had really good long pace. But happy with the second.
He definitely did have great pace, and of course, absolutely something to be really happy about finishing in that second spot tonight. Would have loved to finish one step higher, of course, but looking ahead in the schedule next week, we're going to head to Talladega. What's your outlook for that one, and what is pretty much a wild card on the schedule? Do you have a plan in place? What's your thoughts heading into that one?
I don't really enjoy super speed racing, but we're just we always seem to do pretty good. So I'm sure me and Trent will be at the front. But it's super speedway is always just surviving the wreck, surviving if it goes green, just surviving the pit road cycle without making any mistakes, and then just waiting for the last lap. So I'm sure we'll be all right.
It definitely should be a good one, Abner. Before we let you go here tonight, any sponsors you want to thank, shout-outs you want to give for making this solid finish happen for you here?
Yeah, I want to thank private label Team Hype, Ethica, Racing Radios, and you guys at RaceSpot for broadcasting.
Well, Abner, congratulations on the runner-up finish tonight, and we'll see you at Talladega.
All right, see you guys.
All right, now Trent Dinkle, of course, won the race, and Trent is alongside. Trent, again, this is just unbelievable. This start to the year for you has been ridiculous. Did you ever get anxious at all when you were, still in first place, but only a 10th in front?
I mean, Chad had me a little nervous, and Tommy had me a little nervous, and then the last 10 laps I was really nervous. But I mean, I just kind of figured that nobody probably really knew how to drive in that hot of a track, so I just tried to, I don't know, maintain pace but get them backed up so they were driving too deep into the center. I noticed a lot of people were way over driving 3 and 4 compared to what you could do in the cold weather, and I think that was killing a lot of people. Yeah, and then I really wish that would have gone green to the end from that last caution, because I would have been gone, I think. But I love Texas too, so I think that is probably the biggest factor. Is a lot of people don't like Texas, so they don't like racing there, and I love Texas and I love racing there, so I love doing good there.
Well, it felt like you were perfecting the adage of you don't have to be the fastest once you're in first, you just have to be the slowest to then also hold first. And I feel like that's a strategy you always utilize, especially when it comes to saving tires, and I'm sure that was obviously one of your points of emphasis in this race.
Yeah, and I mean, Team Conti had another, lights out setup this week. All 3 of their setups were super fast in the Cup car. I wasn't really, I definitely was saving, because probably I was running half second off the pace of what I really probably could have ran early, but nobody really was pushing it. I feel like there's multiple occasions where Tommy, Eric Hag, or Chad Kibbe could have stuck their nose down under me and won, and they would have, we would have had to battle it out, but they just kind of stuck behind me. And if you're just going to stay behind me, I'm just going to keep going slow and save my tires.
All right, Trent. Well, hey, we're going to Talladega next weekend, and that might be a race where you don't dominate all the way, as is the age of super speedway racing. And I can't lie, it's are you going to stop winning? It's kind of boring.
Well, I'm definitely going to stop winning next week, because it's just me and Abner. No James or Brandon next week, because they're still in Japan. So, we're still going to be 2 cars short, so unless we can find somebody to work with us. But I don't know, next week I'm honestly kind of hoping that there's a few wrecks, just so, the last couple play tracks we've done have seemed to play out with very weird strategies with different people. So I'm hoping that it's a little bit more entertaining, because them plate races, when they get strung out, are about as boring as can be. But I know that we're fast this week, or at least we felt fast when we tested a couple hours ago, so hopefully, I'll try to win, but I just don't know if it's gonna be a thing.
All right, Trent Dinkle, winner again, 3 for 3. We'll talk to you next week when you go 4 for 4.
Sounds good. See ya.
All right, Robert, you're Trent's always a joy to talk to, especially when he's like, "Oh, it's whatever." I thought I could do more here, but someone who did as much as he possibly could to finish this race up on the podium is Lou Christian. You're standing by.
Lou, congratulations first off on the podium finish here tonight. Why don't you walk us through your race, and what were some of the challenges that you faced out there at the Texas Motor Speedway? We heard tire wear is something that came into play quite a bit here tonight.
Yeah, tire wear definitely, and dirty air. Dirty air and tire wear go hand in hand there. So just searching for clean air, trying to play the long game without letting everybody, come up and pass you. Is got to push a little bit and kind of just managing really hard there. So luckily I had a good long run car. Really wanted second there. I kind of felt Abner bleeding a little bit there late race. I got him on that second stint for second, but fortunately I had a caution there. But a good race. Not really one of my favorite tracks, but we'll take a podium from it and go to Dega next week.
See, and I was going to say that it seemed like this track really suited your style tonight. You were one of the quickest cars out there. What was it about tonight that just worked out well for you and helped you get up there onto the podium, which of course is your first podium of the season?
Yeah, it is. So I practiced a lot and did a bunch of official races this week, early in the week, and to be honest, got wrecked out of all 3 of them. So I said, okay, I'm done. So I actually have not practiced in 3-4 nights. And so
maybe that's the key.
I just kind of visualized it, like, what do I need to do? Where is my brake marker? Where's my gas marker? How do I manage to not overdrive the right front? And kind of just planned it out in my head the last 3 or 4 nights.
So we just had the chance to talk to the race winner, Trent Dinkle. He said he's not going to go 4 for 4. He's not going to win Talladega. Does that mean that we're going to see Lou Christian park it in victory lane down there in Alabama?
Yes, I love Talladega. I love plate races. Well, we'll be up there.
Absolutely. Lou, before we let you go here tonight, once again, congratulations on the podium finish. Who makes it happen for you?
Bo and Boo Wear. If anybody's looking for cowboy boots here in Nashville, hit him up on Instagram, Bo and Boo Wear. Advanced Sim Rig, got the sweet new ASR4 setting in, Fanatec deep dish. Yeah, and you guys PRL. Thanks, everybody.
Congratulations, and we'll see you at Talladega.
Thank you.
All right, Robert. What a race at Texas Motor Speedway. One of those classic intermediate races that we have not always come to expect from this track. Happy it ended up the way it did end up going, and next week is going to be a little bit wilder. Talladega Super Speedway. Yes, it is Talladega, and yes, the start-finish line is moved farther back than usual on a super speedway. You might hear that said a couple times during the broadcast at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Sunday, April 21st. But from us at RaceSpotTV and the Precision Racing League, I gotta say, Robert, any final words about what you got here? What your thoughts are on how this race played out?
I was really pleased with how clean the racing was here tonight, Dylan. Of course, we had 1 or 2 multi-car incidents, but for the most part, the cautions that came out were just solo spins or easy mistakes that happened out there, and nothing really major. So we were able to have the majority of the field finish this one, and we had great battles all throughout the field. All throughout the top 10 was basically side by side all night long, with the exception, of course, of Trent Dinkle. And it'll be nice next week to see a bit of an equalizer, see who can get up there. Maybe we'll have a shocking winner. Maybe we'll have Trent Dinkle win it again. Of course, quick cars, quick drivers are always able to find their way to the front, but we'll see what happens next week. Talladega down there in Alabama, sure to be a good one.
Quick cars, quick drivers, Sunday. What's up, brother? PRL Cup Series competition is on RaceSpotTV. I'm Dylan Coyle alongside Robert Hill. We'll see you next week. Good night and good racing.